The outskirts of Nova Prime were a chaotic place. Broken starships lay scattered among heaps of metal scraps, and the sky was always tinged with smoke from nearby factories. Most humans avoided this area unless they had no other choice. But Elias, a seasoned scavenger, had no fear of the wastelands. He knew how to survive where others would quickly perish. Every day he sifted through junk looking for anything valuable or usable. On this particular morning, Elias noticed something unusual among the scraps. A faint movement caught his eye. At first he thought it was a trick of the light, a shadow shifting under broken metal. But then he saw it again, a small trembling figure lying half-buried beneath a twisted piece of starship hull. Elias carefully moved the metal aside and gasped. It was a young alien girl, barely older than a child. Her skin shimmered with a soft teal glow, streaked with dirt and grime. Her large oval eyes were wide with fear, and her tiny hands clutched the edge of the metal as if it were the only thing keeping her safe. She looked fragile, as if she might vanish if he touched her. Most scavengers would have left her there, calling her dangerous alien trash. But Elias could not. Something in her gaze, a silent plea, told him she needed help. He kneeled down slowly, careful not to frighten her further. "Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you," he said gently. The girl flinched but didn't move away. Her eyes studied him, trying to understand if he was truly different from the others who had tossed her aside. Elias reached into his pack and pulled out a small packet of nutrient paste. "Here, you must be hungry," he said, holding it out to her. After a moment of hesitation, she took it with tiny, trembling hands. She sniffed it, then slowly tasted the paste. Her large eyes lit up and a soft sound escaped her lips, a mix between a sigh and a gasp. Elias smiled. She was hungry and needed care, but she had also survived this long on her own, which meant she was strong. "I'm Elias," he said. "And you?" The girl hesitated again. Her voice was weak but clear. "Lyra," she whispered. Elias nodded. "Nice to meet you, Lyra. You're safe now." The journey back to his dome was slow. Lyra clung to him, her small hands gripping his arm. She looked around nervously at the ruined landscape, but Elias reassured her every step of the way. When they reached the dome, it was modest but sturdy. Inside, he had prepared a small space with blankets, soft enough for her to rest comfortably. "You can stay here," Elias said, setting her down gently. "You don't have to be afraid anymore." Lyra looked around, her large eyes taking in the unfamiliar surroundings. The dome smelled faintly of metal and old food, but it was warm and safe. For the first time in what seemed like forever, she allowed herself to relax. Over the next few days, Elias took care of her with patience and attention. He gave her regular meals, cleaned her wounds, and taught her to speak a few more words in human language. Lyra was quick to learn. Every word she picked up was like a small victory, and Elias found himself impressed by her intelligence. Despite her rapid learning, Lyra's trust came slowly. She would hide when strangers passed by or when the wind howled through the dome's small vents, but she never hid from Elias. She followed him everywhere, watching his movements, imitating his actions. It was clear that she wanted to be close to him, even if she did not fully understand why. One evening, Elias sat across from Lyra as she played with a small piece of metal, trying to shape it into something useful. "You have a talent for this," he said. Lyra looked up at him, her eyes shining with pride. "I want to help," she said. Elias nodded. "And you will. We'll work together. You'll be safe here, and you'll learn many things." Days turned into weeks, and Lyra grew stronger. Her alien biology allowed her to recover from minor injuries quickly, and she was beginning to show signs of agility and strength beyond her small frame. Yet despite her abilities, she still clung to Elias in moments of fear. It was clear that the bond between them was forming naturally, without force or expectation. One night, as the twin moons of Nova Prime rose in the sky, Elias noticed Lyra staring out of the small window. "What is it?" he asked. She turned to him, her voice quiet but firm. "The world. It is not kind. I was left behind." Elias nodded, understanding her words, even if her experiences were far beyond anything he had faced. "No one will leave you behind here," he said. "I promise you, Lyra, you are not alone anymore." For the first time, Lyra allowed herself to smile. It was a small gesture, but it was genuine. She curled up in her blankets that night, feeling warmth and safety for the first time in her short, difficult life. Elias watched over her, knowing that their connection was only the beginning of something greater. In the darkness outside, the industrial wasteland of Nova Prime seemed endless and unforgiving. But inside the dome there was warmth, care, and a growing bond between a human and an alien girl who had been tossed aside like trash. One had found purpose in saving, the other had found hope in being saved. And so the first chapter of their journey began. The human who had found her among the junk heaps had unknowingly changed both of their lives forever. Lyra's path, once full of fear and uncertainty, now had a guiding hand, and she chose to trust the one who had offered her safety, warmth, and care. Years had passed since Elias had first found Lyra among the wreckage of Nova Prime. The small dome they called home had grown with them. Machines they repaired and built together now hummed steadily, and the colony around them began to notice the unusual pair. Elias had always been a skilled scavenger and tinkerer, but Lyra's alien brilliance elevated his work beyond imagination. They created devices that improved life for everyone in the surrounding settlements, blending human practicality with alien ingenuity. Despite their growing recognition, Elias and Lyra's strongest connection remained personal. The dangers of Nova Prime had not diminished, but together they faced each challenge with confidence. Lyra's reflexes and instincts were unmatched, her alien senses detecting subtle shifts in the environment that humans could not perceive. Elias, with his experience and careful planning, complemented her perfectly. They were partners in every sense, a team bound by trust and loyalty. One evening, as the twin suns of Nova Prime sat behind the industrial horizon, Elias and Lyra climbed to the roof of their dome. The view was harsh yet breathtaking. Smoke from the factories mingled with the soft glow of the suns, painting the sky with colors no human city could replicate. Lyra stood beside Elias, her teal skin shimmering softly in the fading light. "You see this?" Elias asked, pointing to the horizon. "This world. It's not easy, but we made it through, together." Lyra nodded. I am here because of you," she said softly. "I chose to stay. I chose you." Elias felt a warmth spread through him. He had known she trusted him, but hearing her words made it real. "And I chose you, Lyra. From the moment I found you, I promised to protect you. I never imagined how much you would protect me in return." They stood quietly, letting the moment linger. The universe outside was vast, indifferent and often dangerous, but inside this small dome, they had created their own world, a world of trust, care, and unbreakable bond. The following weeks brought new challenges. A group of scavengers, noticing the success of Elias and Lyra, attempted to take some of their inventions. They were aggressive, confident, and unaware of the bond between human and alien. Elias prepared to defend the dome, but Lyra moved first. Her agility and reflexes allowed her to disarm the intruders quickly, guiding Elias to outmaneuver them. Within moments, the threat was neutralized without serious harm to anyone. Elias looked at her, admiration shining in his eyes. "You've grown strong, Lyra. Stronger than anyone could imagine." Lyra shook her head. "Not just strong, I'm together. We protect each other." Their teamwork became legendary in the colony. People spoke in hushed tones about the human and the alien girl who had built incredible machines, survived the harshest conditions, and faced every threat with courage and unity. Yet Elias and Lyra cared little for fame or recognition. Their priority was each other. One quiet morning, a delegation from a neighboring alien species arrived. They had heard of Lyra, the young alien who lived with a human. Curiosity and suspicion marked their approach. "Why have you taken responsibility for her?" one of them asked Elias. Elias smiled gently. "Because she needed someone to care for her. Because she deserved a chance to live, to grow, to be safe. And she chose to stay." Lyra stepped forward, standing beside him. "I chose him," she said clearly. "He saved me. He taught me. He gave me a home. I want to be with him forever." The aliens regarded her, recognizing the strength in her words. They nodded quietly, accepting her choice. Lyra had spoken for herself, and her voice carried authority and confidence. Back at the dome, life continued, but the bond between human and alien reached a new depth. Lyra often followed Elias as he patrolled the outskirts, her senses alert to any danger. He in turn ensured she was never in harm's way, watching over her with care and devotion. Together they faced storms, scavengers, and the ever-present dangers of Nova Prime, each challenge strengthening their connection. In private moments, they shared more than survival. Lyra would sit beside Elias, repairing delicate machines or experimenting with new designs. Sometimes they simply watched the twin moons rise, feeling the quiet comfort of companionship. Lyra's presence had become as essential to Elias as his own breath, and he realized that saving her had changed him in ways he had never anticipated. One night, as they watched the moons, Lyra rested her hand on Elias's. The gesture was simple but full of meaning: trust, gratitude, and an unspoken promise. Elias looked down at her, feeling a profound sense of completeness. "You have chosen me," he said softly. "And I will choose you, every day," Lyra replied. Her eyes shone with unwavering loyalty and affection. The industrial wasteland of Nova Prime stretched endlessly around them, harsh and unforgiving. Yet within their small dome they had created a sanctuary, a place of safety, learning, and love. Lyra had been discarded like junk, left to face a cruel universe alone. But Elias had found her, cared for her, and given her a future. In turn, she had chosen him, not out of obligation or fear, but out of trust, admiration, and a genuine desire to remain by his side. Their story became a symbol of hope in the colony. Humans and aliens alike spoke of the duo who had survived against all odds, proving that compassion, courage, and mutual respect could overcome even the most indifferent universe. As the years continued, Elias and Lyra faced challenges and discoveries that tested their bond. Yet their connection remained unbreakable. Every invention they built, every danger they survived, every quiet evening spent together reinforced a simple truth: they were stronger together than apart. One evening, as a gentle breeze swept across the dome, Elias turned to Lyra. "Do you remember the day I found you?" he asked. Lyra smiled softly, nodding. "I was scared. I didn't know what would happen, but you chose me." "And you chose me back," Elias said, taking her hand gently. Lyra's eyes gleamed. "Forever," she said. In that moment, Elias understood the full meaning of their bond. Lyra had been abandoned, tossed aside like nothing mattered. Yet through care, guidance, and mutual trust, she had chosen him. He had saved her, but she had given him something equally precious: loyalty, companionship, and the certainty that they would face the universe together. The twin moons of Nova Prime shone down, casting a gentle light over the dome. Inside, the human and the alien girl sat side by side, hands intertwined, ready to face whatever the universe might bring. Lyra had been tossed like junk, but she had found her place, and she had chosen the human who had saved her, not just for now, but forever. And in that choice, both of them knew one undeniable truth: together, they were unstoppable, unbreakable, and unshakably bonded, no matter how vast or harsh the world around them might be. Months had passed since Elias had found Lyra among the wreckage of Nova Prime's industrial outskirts. The small dome they called home had become a safe haven. Lyra had grown stronger, both in body and mind, and Elias could see the spark of intelligence and curiosity in her bright teal eyes. She was no longer the frightened, trembling child he had rescued. She was becoming someone extraordinary. Elias had taught her many things. She learned to speak and understand human language fluently, but she also absorbed his ways of thinking, his methods for repairing broken machines, and his cautious approach to the wasteland. Lyra's alien physiology allowed her to learn at a speed that surprised even Elias. She quickly became adept at tinkering with scavenged technology, often improving designs in ways that he could not have imagined. One morning, Elias noticed her carefully studying a small graviton converter he had salvaged the day before. "You're watching closely," he said with a smile. Lyra looked up, her large eyes filled with focus. "I want to understand," she said softly. "I want to help," Elias chuckled. "Then let's see what you can do." Under his guidance, Lyra began repairing and improving old machinery. Her hands moved with precision and speed, rearranging circuits and adjusting delicate components. Within hours, she had transformed a barely functioning device into a tool that could generate more energy than Elias had expected. "You're amazing," Elias said, genuinely impressed. "I've never seen anyone learn so quickly." Lyra blushed slightly. I am learning because of you," she admitted. Her words carried a mix of pride and affection, though she did not yet fully understand the depth of her feelings. As Lyra grew stronger, she also became protective. Her keen alien senses alerted her to dangers that Elias could not detect: falling debris, sudden structural weaknesses, and even the occasional scavenger who ventured too close. On several occasions, she warned him in time, preventing serious accidents. Elias began to rely on her instincts as much as her skills. Their bond grew deeper with every shared experience. When they went scavenging together, Lyra moved with grace and agility, scouting ahead and guiding Elias through the safest paths. In return, Elias shared stories of humans and the universe beyond the wastelands, teaching her not just survival but curiosity and hope. The colony around them began to notice the unusual pair. Some humans whispered about Lyra's alien origins, marveling at her intelligence and abilities. Others were wary, unsure whether to trust someone so different. But Elias did not care about opinions. To him, Lyra was not an alien stranger. She was family, someone he had saved and now shared his life with. One day, while scavenging a derelict starship, they discovered a damaged cockpit filled with strange alien interfaces. Elias examined the ship carefully, but it was Lyra who quickly understood the systems. She adjusted controls and rerouted power with skill and confidence, bringing some of the ship's functions back online. Elias watched in awe. "You have a gift," he said quietly. This is more than just learning. You understand things instinctively." Lyra looked at him, her teal eyes reflecting both pride and gratitude. I can do more because of you," she said. Her voice was calm yet full of emotion. She wanted Elias to know that her abilities were a result of his care and guidance. Back at their dome, they spent long evenings working together on inventions, sharing meals, and simply talking. Lyra would sit cross-legged on the floor, experimenting with small devices while Elias watched her carefully. He began to notice her subtle gestures, how she mimicked his expressions, how she sought his approval for even small achievements. One quiet evening, as the twin moons of Nova Prime rose in the sky, Elias looked at Lyra and said, "You're not the same child I found months ago. You've grown, and I am proud of you." Lyra smiled softly, a rare and genuine expression. I am here because of you," she replied. "I choose to stay with you." Elias felt a warmth in his chest he had not expected. He had saved her from abandonment, but now he realized that she had chosen him as much as he had chosen to protect her. This mutual trust, this bond of care and loyalty, was more profound than anything he had imagined. Their connection extended beyond mere survival. Lyra began to help him in daily tasks, but also in ways he hadn't anticipated. She would alert him when the dome's structural supports groaned under weight, predict sudden storms by sensing subtle shifts in the atmosphere, and even help him navigate dangerous scavenging areas. Elias realized that she had become not just a student or a dependent, but a partner. During one particularly harsh storm, when lightning streaked across the sky and debris threatened to collapse parts of the dome, Lyra acted instinctively. She guided Elias to reinforce critical supports, her alien agility allowing her to move faster and with greater precision than any human could. Together they survived the storm, and afterward Elias looked at her in admiration. "You saved us both," he said, voice filled with gratitude. Lyra shook her head. "We saved each other," she replied. That night, as the storm passed and calm returned to the wasteland, Lyra curled up near Elias, a gesture of trust and comfort. They had survived countless dangers together, learned from each other, and grown stronger not just individually, but as a team. Their bond had deepened into something unbreakable, a connection forged through care, guidance, and mutual choice. In the quiet of their dome, surrounded by the hum of machinery and the faint glow of Nova Prime's moons, Elias realized that life had changed completely. He had found a purpose beyond mere survival, and Lyra, once tossed aside like junk, had found a place where she belonged. Together they were no longer just a human and an alien girl. They were partners, protectors, and companions. Their journey was only beginning, but the foundation of trust, care, and loyalty had already been laid. Lyra had grown strong, not just in body but in heart, and she had made a choice: to stay with the human who had given her a second chance at life. And in that choice, Elias knew something profound. Sometimes the universe gave second chances in the most unexpected ways, and in saving her, he had discovered a bond stronger than any danger the wasteland could offer.